Oh, I have some slides to share with you all tonight. Great. Can you all see a slide that says Vermont Early Childhood Fund on it? Great. Great. Just gonna rearrange a few things on my desktop here. So, hello, I'm Michelle Kersey. I'm the Vermont Early Childhood Fund Grants Manager at Building Bright Futures, and I'm excited to share information about the next round of funding through the Vermont Early Childhood Fund. So this evening, I'll give you a brief introduction to Building Bright Futures, review the history of the Vermont Early Childhood Fund and its expansion through the Vermont Integration Project, also known as the Preschool Development Grant Birth to Five. I'll cover the grant timeline and the program that we'll be offering this round. I'll explain the review process, and I'll show you the grant portal and the application. And again, I'll provide some time at the end for answering questions. So Building Bright Futures also goes by BBF for short, for those of you who are involved with our organization, is established in state statute as Vermont's Early Childhood State Advisory Council and Network. And what that means is we are the mechanism that advises the governor and the legislature on the well-being of children in the prenatal period through age 8 and their families. And we do this by utilizing our network that has regional councils throughout the state, as well as the State Advisory Council and our Vermont Early Childhood Plan committees, as well as data that we collect from a variety of sources. So the Vermont Early Childhood Fund grant is just a very small portion of the work that we do here at Building Bright Futures. Our mission is to improve the well-being of children and families in Vermont by using evidence and data to inform policy and bring voices together across sectors and within different regions of the state and statewide to discuss some of the critical challenges that children are facing and to problem solve. So the Vermont Early Childhood Fund was established in 2021 thanks to a grant from a private donor who recognized the value of Building Bright Futures network connections and how we're able to connect with communities to understand what the needs are within the communities. The first couple of rounds of grants were used to award approximately $200,000 in funds to 14 organizations and focused primarily at that time on prioritizing projects that promote fairness and equity, and by incorporating anti-racism and social justice practices into their work. Back in 2019, the state of Vermont, through the Agency of Human Services, was awarded a federal preschool development planning grant. And this federal preschool development grant is a grant that pretty much is awarded to just about every state so that they can develop a 5-year strategic plan for what they want to accomplish for children and families in that prenatal period. For some states, it's through age 5. In Vermont, it's through age 8, as well as different systems focused changes that need to be made. And that grant was followed in 2022 by a federal preschool development renewal grant. One of the really interesting things about the renewal grant is that it included funding that was intended to directly benefit communities through funding direct services and local programming. And Building Bright Futures, because we had already established the Vermont Early Childhood Fund, has taken the lead in managing that subgranting process. Subgrants through this funding source will be distributing up to about $8 million in subgrants over the course of the full grant period. And so this grant started in 2022 and ends in December 30th of 2025. And that's why this current round is a 6-month application round, because all funds through the federal grant need to be spent by December 30th of 2025. So there are 5 focus areas with the grant. The focus areas are strengthening Vermont's early childhood system, supporting the early childhood workforce, improving the quality and availability of services for families in the prenatal period to age 8, increasing family engagement, and addressing our regional council priorities. Oops. Hold on 1 second here. I just need to get my slide deck set. So this slide just gives you an idea of the kinds of projects that we have funded over the course of the last round of funding. So we work really hard to make sure that funds are distributed throughout the state of Vermont. And you'll see on the map that every county in Vermont has received at least 1 grant. In the most recent round, we awarded $1.7 million in grants to 26 grantees. Grantees really include a wide variety of organizations. We allow grant applications and are able to fund applications from nonprofit organizations, from businesses, from municipalities, including municipal libraries. We awarded grants to 2 municipal libraries last round, public schools, family child care homes, center-based early child care and education, mental health providers, hospitals, a huge variety of opportunities for funding. So the application portal for this round of grants opened on March 17th. And applications will be open until 5 p.m. on Friday, April 11th. Late applications will not be accepted. So if you're working on an application, make sure you hit that submit button before that 5 p.m. deadline on April 11th. We'll be holding 2 virtual question and answer sessions on April 3rd. And those are basically like open office hours where you can come and ask any question that you have on the application and about the project that you might be working on. We'll be making award notifications in late May, and the grant period for this grant is July 1st through December 30th, 2025. And what's important to know is that since this is a federal grant, these grant funds are awarded on a reimbursement basis. So that means that you need to spend the money first, and then you submit to us for reimbursement of the expenses that you've already paid for. All expenses need to be incurred and paid for during that July 1st to December 30th time period. So if your project is, for example, you're starting up a new early child care program and you're looking to open your doors in August, and you want to purchase materials. If you order those materials or purchase those materials prior to July 1st, we cannot reimburse you for those materials. So everything has to happen after that July 1st date and before the December 30th date. Yeah. So, and as I mentioned earlier, all funds need to be spent by December 30th. So this round, we're going to be offering 1 grant program, the Opportunity Grant. If you've applied in last rounds, we offered an Innovation Grant, but because those were intended to be multi-year projects, this round, we're just doing Opportunity Grants. You can find details about the program, including a downloadable PDF of the application questions, the budget template, and the scoring rubric from the website. And I'll do a quick go over of the website at the end of the presentation. We are expecting to award $2.5 million this round to approximately 25 to 30 organizations. And again, the grant application is open to nonprofits, businesses, municipalities, and schools. So the opportunity grant, the goal of the opportunity grant is to address immediate needs in the early childhood system. We understand the early childhood system has been underfunded for a long time. And the flexibility that this grant provides will help meet some of the needs in the system that have been outside of traditional funding programs. Grants will range from $10,000 to $80,000. So, due to the fact that these grants are funded through a federal funding source, there are a number of items that cannot be funded. This is just a quick overview. The list is not exhaustive, but it'll give you an idea of the kinds of things we've been funding. So, you can pay people with this grant, and that can be salaries for staff members, it can be contracted work, it can be presenter fees, anything where you're paying somebody for work that they're doing. We can also, you can also use funds to purchase supplies and materials. It can cover the cost of training, of education, of professional development. And along with that, with this federal grant, you can use or you can budget for up to 10% of your other expenses to be used to cover your overhead, and it's treated as an indirect cost on the budget. Things that can't be funded. This isn't an exhaustive list. These are the more common things that people come across, but there is a more detailed list in the frequently asked questions document on the website. So the first thing, and this is very specific to this grant, funds cannot go towards any construction costs, any renovation costs. Also, funds cannot be used for capital purchases. The federal government doesn't want to see any purchases of assets that could be added to an organization's balance sheet, things that would be depreciated over time. Funds also cannot be used to pay off debt or for any activities that occur outside of that July 1st to December 30th grant period. Fundraising of any kind, so it can't fund fundraising staff, it can't go towards a fundraising campaign. Food, alcohol, and entertainment are not allowed, and neither are stipends or gift cards. And specifically with stipends and gift cards, we're talking about a benefit for like attending a workshop. So if you have people attending a workshop and you just want to give them a gift card for showing up, that's not allowed. If it's the kind of stipend, the word stipend is kind of used in a lot of different ways. If you are paying an employee for time that they are working outside of regular work hours, we wouldn't call that a stipend. We would call that wages. And so that is something that's allowed. So we use a review team model when evaluating applications. Our review teams consist of staff members from Building Bright Futures, as well as agency partners and volunteers, people from the communities where your programs are located. And scoring is based on a rubric that is evaluating how well the project fits the ECF goals, how clear and realistic the project is, how well equity is incorporated into the work, how realistic the budget is, and how likely it is to complete the work by that December 30th deadline, or at least the portion of the work that is being applied for. So if you have a program that is ongoing and goes beyond the grant period, we just want to know that the work that you're asking for funding for can be completed by the end of that December 30th deadline. Then once we have our evaluators look at their applications, we look at the entire pool of recommended applications and look for distribution to make sure that funds are being awarded in all parts of the state and to diverse projects. So that's it for the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing. And then before I open it up to question and answers, I'm just going to quickly show you all the website and the application portal. So let's see. So this is the main page of our website. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can see some more of it. And so when you go to our website, if you select the Our Work tab at the top of the screen and go to Vermont Early Childhood Fund in the left-hand column, that brings you to the main page of the website about grants. And there is some basic information about the grant in this top few paragraphs. You can find a frequently asked questions document here. And then the PDF of the application, if you want to preview the application questions, is here. They're not an exact representation of what the application looks like, but it's just to give you an idea of what kinds of questions are being asked. The budget template that we offer is here. You're free to use your own budget if you have one in PDF form that you can upload or Excel form. And then the scoring rubric is here. We do ask that each organization only submit one application per round. And then to apply for the grant, you would go down to here, click Apply Now, and that brings you to the grant portal. And so I'm just going to plug in my sign-in information here. If you haven't applied in the past, you're going to need to sign up for a new account here. And the website's a little slow tonight. So the first thing you'll do is you fill out a profile about your organization here. And it just asks real basic questions like your name, address, what county are you located in, a quick description of your organization, what kind of program you have. Are you a nonprofit? Are you a business? And then once you finish the profile, you would come right down here to the box where it says add another and click that little plus sign. And that brings you to the application. And the application has 3 different sections. The main application is here. So you'd click open, answer the questions. And then when you're done, you would mark it complete. And then the budget is here. And so you have the option again to either upload a budget from your own computer or to complete the template that we provide. And then you'd mark that complete. Oops, which won't let me do. And then there's just a quick survey at the end. And that's really from our information. We just want to know what your experience is like with the application, if there are other resources that you're interested in, and whether or not you'd like to sign up for a newsletter. And then this is really important. Once you've completed everything else, you can't really see it here, but there's a submit application button. You need to make sure to hit that submit application button so that I'll see that you're done. And that's it. I'm going to stop recording.